Steve said I'm regular here, and I love the fact that you guys came out tonight. It's a beautiful night to be out. Are you ready for some football?
Yeah.
So the summer before I went to college, my father drove me for 2 weeks from Texas up to Michigan, looking at colleges all along the way so I could decide which one I wanted to go to. And even though he and my mother both went to the University of Michigan, Michigan State, and I felt vindicated my freshman year when they went to the Rose Bowl. Back in the day of Clint Jones and Bubba Smith, they were undefeated going into the Rose Bowl, national champions, favored by 14 points, and they came out behind UCLA by 2 points. But I still felt vindicated for having chosen that school over U of M. Some agreement. So I'd like to talk about the first time I left home. I was going to school, so I got on the train in Dallas, and I had a 12-hour train ride ahead of me with a layover in Chicago, 2-hour layover in Chicago. Unfortunately, the train got into Chicago 2 hours late, so I missed my train. So I asked the station agent, what could I do? And he said, well, there's another train leaving tomorrow. I didn't really want to spend the night in Chicago alone. So he said, but there's a bus 2 miles up the road. If you have time to get there and get a bus ticket to East Lansing. So I did that. But those were back in the days when we didn't have suitcases that rolled. We had suitcases that carried. So I carried my suitcase 2 miles up the road to get to the bus station. Now, when I got into the bus station in Michigan State, it was closed. It was midnight by then. It was dark. They let us off the bus, of course, but the station was closed. So I went to a payphone. I don't know if you all have ever used a payphone, if you remember payphones, and called a cab to take me to the campus. And a guy who had gotten off the bus with me overheard me. He said, so I hear that you're going to campus. I'm going to campus too. Would you like to share a cab? I'm an 18-year-old who's never been away from home before. And I said, no, thank you. That will be fine. My cab's on the way. And so, of course, he withdrew. And then I read his suitcase tag later that said, Reverend John C. Smith. I'm like, okay, so maybe he wasn't going to jump me, but better safe than sorry. So I got to the dorm. Now, I'd never had a curfew, and of course, I had keys to my own house, and I thought hotels were open all the time, so I assumed that the residence hall where I was staying would also be open all the time, but it was not. It was locked. So I rang the doorbell. Graduate assistant who was in charge of the dorm came to let me in, started yelling at me immediately. It's midnight. Why are you here so late? Why are you trying to get in after curfew? Curfew? Oh, that's the thing? Okay. And then I said, well, I missed my train connection in Chicago, and so I came in late on the bus, and she said, did you tell me you were in Texas this morning? And I said, yes. And she looked at me a little more closely, and she said, tomorrow we will deal with this, but you should have called. Yeah, okay, no cell phone. Didn't know I had to. So I had promised my parents that I would call them as soon as I got there. So I went to a payphone and tried to call them, but my dime was bent. It did not work. That was back in the days when you actually used change to make a phone work. So I went down the hall, talked to some girls. Can we exchange dimes so I can get a dime that's straight enough to work in the phone? Oh yeah, here's a dime. So I called my parents. By this time, I lost it. So I knew, of course, my mother would be very upset if she found out that I was calling late and I was sobbing on the phone. I said, it's okay, I'm here, I'm okay, everything's fine. I will call you tomorrow and give you the details. I just want to let you know I'm okay. And that was my first day away from home. Thank you all. I'll see you later tonight. Thank you.